Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. We got plenty to talk about on today's show. Memphis gets another injury scare, this time with Morant. We'll talk about that. A deal gets done. Wendell Carter Jr. gets an extension. The Mavs make a move. Malcolm Brogdon's injury. We'll talk a bit about that, too. Lots of stuff for us to get into. But first, Keith, you spent your morning trying to do what you can to shore up your neighborhood. How's everything looking? I know a lot of people are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna take a pretty direct hit where I live. Just like if you look at Orlando on a map, like I'm south of Orlando, and we're gonna take a pretty good hit from this. So we're doing everything we can to prepare. We've got everything we need here for our house. We're ready to go. But we are my neighbors, we it's Florida, so there's a lot of old people here, me included. But there's we're doing our best around the neighborhood to try to help people out, help our neighbors. There's a lot of people who can't they can't do things for themselves that you would need to do, like bringing in potted plants and
Sure.
just patio furniture. So the group of us, we're kind of going around the neighborhood that are we're in good shape, so we're helping others out, just trying to do our best, right? We all want to help as much as we can, with neighbors and the like. So that's what we're doing. We're think it's now. This is a weird storm. It's kind of sped up and then slowed down and then sped up again, but it's gonna really start picking up here. They're telling everybody to be where they need to be Wednesday by noon in
Uh-huh.
our area, and then kind of wait it out. But it's really gonna roll in tomorrow night is when it'll start. We'll start seeing the worst of the weather. It's always awful when these things come through overnight, but it
Yeah.
has slowed down a little bit, so it's probably going to start hitting overnight Wednesday, but then we're going to get the bulk of it throughout the day on Thursday. So we'll kind of see where things go from there, and hopefully by Thursday afternoon, we'll be able to at least get outside and check damage and the like before it gets
Mhm.
dark. Otherwise, we'll be doing that on Friday morning. So that's where it is. They've already told us like it's no longer a matter of if you will lose power. It's like when and for how long. So we'll be dealing with a little bit of that. Probably starting some point tomorrow afternoon or evening. But it's scary, but we've done everything we can to prepare, and we're ready to go.
So for right now, just for this show, which obviously is secondary to everything that you've got going on with your home and all that sort of stuff, but just for everybody who's listening, who's watching, just expect that this may end up being the last show we have for the week. It depends on what happens. Depends on what your power situation is. But I would say, Keith, I mean, if we have the opportunity to do a show tomorrow, your power situation's fine and everything,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do one. But just be aware, we can't say yes for sure we'll be back tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. It just depends on what's going on with this storm, with your power and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to also say, whether it was through YouTube with our show, just through social media, my professional email is on my Twitter bio, and a lot of people send emails to that. It is so appreciative, all the kind words and everybody sending well wishes for all of that. We're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. There are a lot of people who are not going to be. So at some point there's going to be people who need help, and there are still a lot of people all over the South that need help from Helene still. So
Mhm.
if you find yourself moved, like myself, my family, we're fine and we're going to be okay. But if you really find that you got to do something to help, there's a lot of places that and a lot of people who need help, certainly a lot more than we will, and reach out to those places. Just be careful, because there's a lot of, unfortunately, bad actors out there too that
Uh-huh.
are running scams. So make sure where you're sending your whether it be time or money or whatever it is you're willing to put up on that it's gonna go to help. But there's a lot of people who need help, and as I was saying to you before we started the show, we'd all be a lot better if we acted regularly the way we act in times of crisis, right? We come together, and we help each other out a
Mhm.
lot. And this is this always brings out the best in people. Even if there are a few bad eggs or bad apples in the bunch, it doesn't spoil everything. And where the rest of us are doing everything we can to help. And it really did make me feel good to see how many people reached out just to say, hey, if you're okay. I mean, even people like, hey, if you need to get out of there, like I have a room and all that. But that's much appreciated. And as much as I'd love to bring the equipment and do the front office show from your spare bedroom or wherever, that comes with my wife and daughter and dogs and everything else. So that probably changes the math for some folks a little bit. But thank you so much for everyone who's reached out and offered help and everything else.
Well, Keith, if you want a heck of a drive, you could head my way, and we'll do live in person front office shows.
There it is.
That'd be fun in studio here.
Crim in shoulder to shoulder.
There we go. We'll make it work.
Yeah. If things go really sideways, don't be surprised when you get a call and I'm like, hey, I'm not even telling you we want to come. We're already on the way.
I'm just expecting a knock on the door.
There it is.
Hey, we're here. All right, let's go.
We're here. Yeah, like Uncle Eddie in the vacation movies. We just show up. Right. The something was full.
That's right. Oh God. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that movie again in like 6 weeks or whatever when we get to Christmas time. Good. Such a good one. All right, everybody. We will have to play it by ear for the rest of the week. But if we have the capability to do a show, we will do a show. I think that's that's the biggest thing here. But just be aware, we don't know exactly what that's going to look like for the rest of the week.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get into some news here. That was our daily weather update. This is the NBA front office / weather show, apparently.
It's like the local news. Like you get a little weather, a little sports, and human interest story because people are helping each other out. That's it. There we go.
Yeah,
we're gonna
exactly. Okay, let's go here, Keith. Wendell Carter Jr. got an extension done. Now he has 2 years still under contract, but this extension will keep him in Orlando for at least the season. That's something that's worth noting. He can't be traded now this coming season because the amount of the extension makes him trade eligible in 6 months. Well, that's past the trade deadline. But this is also, Keith, I saw you spelling this out on X. This is the largest extension that he could potentially get in his situation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. If we remember back when Wendell Carter signed his last extension with the Magic, one of the things we all liked about it was like, wow, this is a really good value deal. It's a declining deal and the like. Those declining deals always look great up front, right? Because it's like, man, the team got him, and if anything happens, they're paying him less as he gets older and whatnot. But where it can get very tricky is if the player really breaks out, it can be very hard to extend them off of that number. You guys, if you've been watching the show for a while, I've heard Trevor and I say multiple times, he's not extendable at the number he's on because it's not enough money. The guy's maybe a max level guy, close to max, and the team can't get him there. In the case of Wendell Carter Jr., his last year under contract's like 10-ish million. So now what happens in this case is they use the estimated average player salary to give him his extension, and he's getting 140%. So as Trevor's pulled up on the screen, but for those just listening, that's about 18.1 million in 26-27, then 19.5, then almost 21 million. It's 20.99 million in the final year. Subsequent reporting has come out. I saw it from Michael Scotto of Hoopsite that final year, because it's the Magic, it's a team option. They are very good about sliding those team options in on those contracts for their guys. So really think of it as, at worst, it's a 2-year extension worth about 37.5 million. And at best, it's a 3-year extension about 58.6 million. So, good for him, good for the Magic. They've really done a good job building this team up. One worry you kind of start to have is you can't extend and keep everybody. And if you start to do that, you start to run into, well, you may not have any bad contracts individually on your books. All of a sudden you look up and it's like, whoa, we're a tax team. How did this happen? So the Magic are right on the borderline of that. But because none of the contracts are bad individually, they could always move off somebody if they need to and make a trade. So they're in pretty good shape.
So, Keith, let me ask you, why now? Why is Orlando doing this now when he's got 2 years left under contract and they're giving him the most they can possibly give him? Where was the urgency coming from? Like, I can't imagine Wendell Carter was necessarily pushing. I'm sure he would like to get an extension done, but knowing that he still has multiple years left on his deal, I don't think there would have been a lot more urgency from the Wendell Carter side next summer, would have been my guess. So why do this now?
Yeah, my guess is just to get it taken care of, right? It's let's say Wendell Carter plays 70 plus games this year and plays really, really well. Now you may be out of the position to even extend him on a deal like this. He may say, nah, I'll play it out. I think I can get 20 or 25 million average annual value in my next deal rather than, roughly 20 is what this works out to. So, I think there's always something to be said for when you can get something taken care of, just get it taken care of. If it's the right move, right? And for the Magic, they feel like, yeah, this is it. This is the right move for us to get this guy locked in. He's our starting center. He's been a big part of the things we've built here. So let's get him locked in and let's go.
The Magic, we don't procrastinate. That's their slogan there.
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
They're getting it done. All right, Keith.
I'm glad you pulled up the cap sheet. And everybody, this is the Magic's multi-year view on Spot Track. Yes, I mean, look, everywhere you look, I mean, none of these contracts none of them are like, holy cow, that's bad. I mean, yeah, you could question like 25 million for Jonathan Isaac, but they did that renegotiate and extend, and that's how you get him at 15 million for the rest of the deal. With the last few years are non-guaranteed. He's got to hit games played markers to get there. So, now Jalen Suggs, we'll see what happens. We're on the clock. We got about 2 weeks left for him to do his extension. So we'll see what that looks like. Otherwise, that'll go into restricted free agency where the Magic will still control the process. But yeah, I mean, there's not a bad deal on there. I want to point out one other thing too. We added little markers next to a bunch of the names. There you can see them. It's got a little lock on it, the little location symbol in the lock. That means there's a trade restriction on those guys.
Very
try
nice.
to put in there when the trade restrictions lift.
I
like that. We're still working through and getting them all updated, but that just gives everybody a sense of, hey, this is out there. This is what this will look like. If you're wondering, when's this guy trade eligible? In addition to, we dropped in a little in blue type. If you look at the salaries, a little extension eligible on the years when guys are eligible to sign extensions. So, we're just kind of constantly tweaking and adding things and trying to put it all there on the page for everybody as best they can.
You guys, with all your useful stuff that you're doing here, because not only is it telling you now exactly when the guy is trade eligible, which is key, especially with those guys that get the big raises and then they become like January 15th guys instead of December 15th guys. It's important to be able to distinguish between those guys in terms of when they're trade eligible in the coming season. But then also this with the total amount of the contract, and then you hover over it and you get the guaranteed amount. That is so cool, Keith. I use that all the time because I used to click into the guy, look into the contract, and have to dig and see, well, how much is actually guaranteed. It's so useful to be able to just hover over it and go, oh, cool. All right, I see he's got 14.5 million under contract for Jonathan Isaac, but only 8 million is guaranteed. That has been extremely useful for me as I've been digging through stuff. Yeah,
we're trying to, not that we don't want people to go into pages, but it's just everybody likes to see things different ways. So one of the things we try to do is add that ability to kind of one-stop shopping, like come here to this page and see, but all the detail is still there if you want to get to it and see it. Tatum's checking in to say hello here, by the way, behind me. So he's
hunker down, Tatum.
Yeah, that's it, man. They are I think they're already getting a little like, they can always feel it first, and I think him and the other one are a little feeling it a little bit already. But yeah.
They know, huh? They're acting a little different.
Yep. There it is, and then you get all the details, like you said, on Isaac and everything.
I like the contract now. The total guaranteed money, that all that kind of stuff gets added into this page. But just you guys are coming up with some awesome stuff over there. On trying, it feels like a weekly basis. There's something new coming out that is super useful.
Well, the cool thing is, sometimes they're my ideas, sometimes they're other people's, but anytime I go to our guy, Scott, he's like our lead programmer, and I'm like, hey, so I think it would be cool if we can do this. And I'll throw these things out there, and I'm like, I have no idea if this is something that's going to be hours of work or if it's 5 minutes of work, and he just makes it happen. Like he's unbelievable. He's a wizard. So
so cool.
Appreciate the effort he puts in.
All right, let's jump over to Memphis, who had one of the weirdest turned ankles I think I've ever seen, Keith. It was so strange. It was one of those reports where it's like he was hit by the ball and it turned his ankle. What? He was, if you saw the clip, John Morant, and I'll see if I can find it. John Morant is in full stride. He's running down the court. A pass gets thrown. It hits his foot. It causes his foot to land funny, and he kind of rolls his ankle over a little bit. He did limp off to the locker room. Sounds like he's going to be okay. But Keith, my goodness, how many injury scares can we give the Grizzlies before the season start? We already had the Jaren Jackson Jr. hamstring thing. Now John Morant with his ankle, and we know what happened to the Memphis Grizzlies last season. This is, I mean, with the basketball gods are just messing with Grizzlies fans at this point.
Yeah, what do we got, about 2 weeks till opening night? So 7 or 8 more, I guess, probably. Yeah. We'll probably get
it's like Final Destination stuff happening here now.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, yeah, this one was just like I've never seen anything like this before. Like I've never seen that kind of thing even remotely happen in a basketball game. But Taylor Jenkins came out. John Morant left, went to the locker room. He did come back to the bench, did not come back into the game. And Taylor Jenkins, like, yeah, he's got a little sprained ankle, but he's fine. He should be good to go. So that's, at least that's the good news. We're 2 injuries in a row for the Grizzlies, him and then Jaren Jackson Jr., where it looks like they're going to be okay. So maybe we're turning the corner a little bit here.
I hope so.
We'll
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. I found
you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Here it is. Here's the actual play. I mean, look at this. The pass, and it hits his foot and his ankle turns right there. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah. I've never
seen that before. Like I said, that's like Final Destination type stuff.
And look, you pulled it down. Pull it back up real quick. Look at the first 2 replies. This is why we can't have nice things. Really, bro? Yep. And then Grizzlies might actually be cursed.
Right? I mean, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable with the Grizzlies. And I just hope this doesn't turn into any. I hope it's not like, oh, near miss, and then they get hit by a few injuries here.
Let's hope some of these near misses are like, hey, actually it's nothing, and we're turning the corner from this, because that's a fun team with really good players that could be really, really good. So hopefully we're over all this.
All right, let's jump over to Malcolm Brogdon, another injury, out with a thumb injury. Keith, as I didn't see the full timeline for Brogdon. As I recall, he had surgery on his thumb, correct?
Yeah, he has a torn ligament in his right thumb, so his shooting hand. The Wizards left it very vague as like, will be updated as appropriate or whatever. There was some other reporting, kind of the sourced reporting, that said at least a month, and I spelled Malcolm wrong, so that's on me, but whatever. It's, we'll blame it on the hurricane brain. But yeah, so he is going to be out. It looks like at least a month, so that's obviously now at this point that's the start of the season. Definitely he'll be out for that. And that is the one position where Washington doesn't have a lot of guys. Like they still don't have a lot of point guards. But maybe Bub Carrington, this opens up even more playing time for him. They may just, run with Jordan Poole at the point. Maybe this opens up a pathway to starting for somebody else that maybe not have been in the mix, but it's not the end of the world because it's a rebuilding season for Washington. But 2 things. One, you'd like Brogdon there to just kind of be the tone setter, help get guys organized, get them settled. And the other thing is, if you're Washington, you'd really like Brogdon to be out there and play really well, so that come trade deadline, you'd be like, who needs a guard? Who needs some guard help? And, try to shop him to pick up additional assets to aid you in your rebuild. Because as they said openly, Josh Robbins of The Athletic did a great piece on this, that our word's no longer a dirty word in Washington. They're openly embracing the rebuild theme. Like they're like, no, that's what we are doing. We are, and it was they're like, we're still in the. I think they said we're done with the tear down phase, but now we're in the process of starting to build back up. So still pretty early in this process there for them, and right approach, but just a bummer that one of the guys is going to be out for a little bit.
Well, and again, like you said, this isn't going to change the long-term future of Washington. Like, it's not like you're saying, oh, you're missing a year of development or whatever, or even months of development, whatever it ends up being, however long he's out. For Malcolm Brogdon, I mean, he's 32, he's a finished product, but like you said, this is a potential trade piece for the. I mean, you look at the Wizards, Kyle Kuzma, Malcolm Brogdon, maybe Jonas Valanciunas. So maybe that'll be next season. We'll see. They're going to move him at some point. but it might be next season. But those are kind of the main pieces that you would expect to be moved by the Wizards, and to have him hurt, that's not going to help them. Now, if he's back though by December, if he's good by December, come January when the trade talks really pick up, okay, you're probably going to be in good shape. So that's really what you're hoping for if you're Washington, that he's back on the floor, he can show what he's got, and then contenders will take notice of that by, say, mid-January as we head towards that February 6th trade deadline.
Yep. I just noticed, like, all show I keep getting this like Elvis like curl dipping down in front of my face, so that's good. I'm not in costume yet. We still got to get to 35K, and then I'll dress as fat bloated Elvis from back in the day.
I keep forgetting because I need to say it at the beginning of the show. Because let's face it, the people that are still watching and listening at this point, you guys are the real ones. You guys are like our hardcore fans that are probably already subscribed.
Did you see? We had one guy who was like, I watch every episode and realized I was never subscribed. He's like, so I went in and subscribed. So that tells us, though, you guys liking the show is putting it in people's feeds and in the like. So that's helping people subscribe. So very politely, we're going to ask, subscribe, like, share the videos. And if we get to 35K before Halloween, we'll dress up like goofballs.
Yep. So we got to get there. And next show, I need to remember to say it off the jump, but yes, Halloween costumes if we can hit 35,000 subscribers. All right, let's jump over to the Dallas Mavericks. They waived AJ Lawson. What's the thought process here in Dallas?
Yeah, non-guaranteed contract for AJ Lawson. There is a chance he's still got two-way eligibility left, so maybe he pops back up. The Mavs do still have a two-way spot open, so this could be one where they waive him and then ultimately re-sign him. My guess is we go back a few months ago, they re-signed Markieff Morris, but only to a camp deal initially. They love Markieff Morris for what he brings to their locker room, so this may have been the move to let's create the roster spot for Markieff Morris because they didn't have that because Spencer Dinwiddie took their last open roster spot, and then Morris can slide in there as that, he's kind of in the more of the Udonis Haslem type of role for a team now.
Sure.
A great locker room guy, had some toughness, some physicality if called upon, but that's what he does. So AJ Lawson comes off the books here. No, again, non-guaranteed, so no hit for Dallas, but don't be surprised if AJ Lawson potentially shows back up on a two-way with the Mavs again. And there's no conversion for a guy on a standard contract to be converted to a two-way. You have to waive the player. So that's where sometimes teams get a little nervous because if they're worried at all about the player getting claimed or anything, that becomes a little bit of a worry. But just wanted to throw it in there. These are kind of the little moves you're going to see some teams have to do here beyond the 100+ training camp waivers we're going to see coming up here in the next couple of weeks because we're coming out. We'll do when we have time, probably post storm. I'll run through some key dates for us because we do have some key dates coming up in the next couple of weeks, but nothing's like immediate in the next 2 weeks. So, or rather, in the next week. It's more like 2 weeks out, but we'll run through those at a show down the line.
All right, that sounds like a plan. We'll look at some of the important dates coming up. Keith, I know you've got a million things to go do, getting ready for everything that's going on. So we'll see. Obviously tomorrow, you and I will touch base and we'll see how things look. And if we're able to do a show, we'll do a show. And if not, we won't. And of course, nobody will fault you for that. So hopefully, everything goes well. But I'm glad we were able to get a show in today. And then hopefully we'll get in some more shows this week. We'll see.
Oh, I mean, maybe I'll be doing front office Friday from the car, from the phone camera or something. We'll figure it out, but we'll be there again. Thanks for everybody for your well wishes. Whatever it is you do to send good vibes our way here in Florida, please do it. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to go through this thing pretty bad. So if you can, anything you can do to send good vibes our way, we'll take them.
That's right. All right, everybody. Again, we appreciate all of you for joining the show. Don't forget to subscribe so we can wear those Halloween costumes on Halloween. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.